Hello, am I audible? Very good. So thanks ETCISO for inviting me to this data privacy summit. And it was really very interesting and very learning hearing Justice Sri Krishna. Some of the things which he has shared is actually the takeaway for this particular conference. Uh, for me, I always use this conference to crystallize my thoughts in a very structured manner. It's a kind of a structured manner because otherwise CISOs, they don't get chance because they are so busy in operational matters, they actually don't get chance to crystallize their thoughts. The thought, the theme which I have chosen to speak here is a thought which came to me 30 years before or more than that. I remember having gone to a place to collect some data because the so-called personal data that was required by my sister who was doing a research in social science. The moment I reached that place, and that place was real India, not the metros. I reached that place to collect the data, and believe you me, people are very curious that these guys have come here either to pay us something for taking our data or they are for the government. Once they take data, we will be given some kind of an incentive. So this was very intrinsic in their mind that there is a value for sharing this data. So that was in my mind that of course there is a value for sharing of this data. Now the evolution started. Everybody started talking about data. Then IT Act came. Then the GDPR came. Then so many things happened about collecting data and the entire ecosystems. All the stakeholders, they were sensitized about data collections, data transmissions, and abiding by the laws, regulations, compliance, and all sort of things. And again, this DPDP came, where there was a provision for data subjects to pay 10,000 rupees if they don't comply with the regulations. So while that same thing in my mind, that why not incentivize data subjects for sharing their data, make it more formal. When you make it more formal, I'm not saying that you flout rules. You have to obey the rules, comply to the regulations, comply to the laws, to the last digit. At the same time, incentivize all the stakeholders, including the data subjects. So that is where I thought, in fact, everybody thought. I mean, there are a lot of literature in this space also. I'm not the pioneer in this space. Like think of a situations where we have a data repository. All the data are there of the individuals. And the primary users of the data, the secondary users of the data, they all come to the same space asking for the data. And the consent mechanism which Justice Sri Krishna just now told has to be necessarily there, has to be followed very piously. At the same time, there is an incentive which should be there in the framework that whoever takes data from the data subject has to pay for consent. See, what happens in this kind of a framework, that you create a data repository, you avoid hoarding of data by individual companies, at the same time, give ultimate freedom and to the data subjects for sharing the data, and also get the incentive for sharing this data. This is what we call data democratizations. So, and this needs a kind of a metamorphism. Do you have that? How do I run this slides? Somebody can run for me, no? Yes. So this is what exactly I thought of spending some time in telling that what exactly we need to do to get into that stage or prepare for that stage. I'm sorry. Okay. So so just a disclaimer, which normally I do in all my talks. that whatever I would be talking is my opinion. It's not the opinion from the company for which I work. It's just an industry perspective, and you will always find a flavor of a implementation perspective in all my talks, because essentially I am an implementer. Next slide, please. Somebody is helping me. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So if you go to these regulations are all are the catalyst for the place where I'm proposing that we should reach there. The first thing is where in the maturity curve, the first thing which comes is that a law has come, and we have to abide by the laws. I pardon Justice Krishna, I don't know that how many companies till today, even after GDPR had have come more than 10 years or so, how many companies in the world can put their farm feet in the ground and say that I am 100% GDPR compliant? I don't know. I still feel that nobody is compliant. This is my thought. So anyway, essentially, we need to be complying to the existing regulations, number one. That is the first thing. Second thing is, when you do that, there is a need for collecting the data. While you collect the data, have in mind that you have a data governance framework where the collection of the data, the consent mechanism, everything should have the enabling feature to reach there what is called data democratization, which means that a data subject, when giving a consent, should also give a consent to sharing data to a unified platform. So that is where your democratized data ecosystem starts. Then you start the third phase is that monetizations through the paper consent. Once you do that, then the next thing you should do is join all those pieces together and make something which is called a UPIization of data privacy, which is that you have a common framework where every stakeholder gets benefited because of that framework. Next slide, please. Then how do there are a lot of synergies between DPDPA and the democratizations. I'll just take, so one is the data discovery and information lineage, which is the requirement of a DPDPA. And I said that while doing that, try to establish the data governance model, a unified data platform. What should be the format of the unified data platform? What should be the data model of that unified data platform will get evolved. And consent mechanism and consent manager, which I think is extremely brilliant piece in our DPDPA. That consent mechanism and consent manager, we should map that consent to the organizational data strategy. Like I said, that making it clear that the data which you are giving, nothing explicit. You are saying that data which you are giving has to go to the unified data platform. Then here you have to take organization and technical measures. What I'm saying is use privacy enabling technologies, privacy enhancing technologies, data anonymizations. Currently everybody starts using that AI, generative AI, and whatever, your blockchain and all sort of things you should use. You should necessarily use. Then we talk about data principal rights. Here you have to, when you talk about data principal rights, you should make that implicit in the data principal rights that data has to be an incentive for using this data. If I'm using person A's data, there is a mechanism to pay for every consent. Next. Now I'm talking about the golden triangle. What is the orchestrating the data monetizations? If you look at the bottom of this picture, which triangle which I'm saying, if you if you do privacy technology and digital operations and enabling DPDPA and CPRA or any kind of act, if you do it very diligently, where you reach is called continuous compliance, where all of us necessarily should. There is no alternative than complying to a regulation or complying to a law. We need to do it very piously. Second is, if you do data discovery, lineage, and privacy technology and digital operations, you will reach which is called data democratizations. And then data discovery lineage and enabling DPDPA, you will reach something we are called incentivizing the users. So essentially continuous compliance, data democratic, incentivizing the users. These are all the requirement for orchestrating the data monetizations. And there is a Deloitte study which I came across, which says that by the end of this decade, the data monetization market is around $15.5 billion. Then coming to the architecture, so I've just thought about some architecture and putting that thought to all of you who are more learned, and I'm sure all of you must be practitioners, privacy practitioners. I am an accidental privacy practitioner because as Sir was saying that the role of privacy came to CISO because of a TINA factor, because there was no alternative. When the privacy came, CISOs were in the forefront, and and there are a lot of things on security which has to be taken care of. So there is no other way for CISOs to hone their skills and upscale themselves to take care of the privacy. That is why privacy came to us. So we all are accidental privacy people. And when Sir was speaking, there was something which came to my mind, like we are in a period where we all talk about data privacy, DPDPA, because the rules have not come. Rules will be a surprise to us. We don't know what kind of effort will be required to implement those rules, but believe me, sir, again, to Sir, I'm giving an assurance. The CISO sitting over here, their business is managing uncertainties. Every day, every minute, we have zero-day threats. We don't know what kind of threat will come, but still we manage it. And we manage it more efficiently. In India, there is a survey that India is one of the topmost countries, the top quadrant of managing cybersecurity well in different ways. Then coming to the data monetization and protection architecture, which came to our mind. So my colleague, I will give credit to a couple of my colleagues who is sitting over here, though have helped me in preparing this. Is one Mr. Sai, who is sitting over here, somewhere here. So I will start that. So this side is cluster of organization where the primary users, primary providers. Here there are users where cluster of organizations where they will also use those information. Example is like bank. It starts from a bank. So bank asks you that give your share your data to us. You ask whom? Ask to a consent manager. And the consent manager, as DPDBS says, it can be a third party also. So, and it will be a third party. And I am very bullish about consent management space. I think that this consent management will be the next UPI of this country. So they will ask the consent manager, telling that give the data. So the consent manager will go to the data principal and tell that, hey, this person wants to take your data. The consent manager, this goes to then data comes, and data comes to the democratic. And when they taking the consent, it takes very clearly that data will go to the democratizing platform. Then it comes to the DDP. So the data collected by the bank comes to the DDP. Please remember here one thing. Nobody is interested in taking your name and taking your address or taking your mobile number. There will be no claimant for that. People are interested to know the value added information, that how much you are spending. What is your spending pattern? Think about an example. Let's say insurance company tells you that, hey, I want to take your driving pattern, that how you drive your car. It will help me in understanding the risk, like whether you are careful in driving or not. So this data, please give me the data. Then the person will tell, why would I give this data to you? It will tell that if you give this data, and if I get an inference that your driving is very good and you are safe driver, then your insurance premium will be less. I think people will give that data, that access. So the same thing which I am saying here. So the bank has taken the data. It has gone to the democratized platform. Then there is another set of users, which is like personal finance, investment bank. They will also need data, the same data. Instead of going to the bank or instead of directly going to the data subject, They will ask the same consent manager. Consent manager will again go to the data principal. Data principal will again come to the DDP, and DDP will give this data, and there will be an JITC, which is just in time consent. Whenever somebody is asked, there will be just in time consent which will be taken by the subjects. That is why we will develop something which is called paper consent, which or the monetized incentive. My last slides, I know she's here. Uh, so couple of challenges, and of course there is no challenge. The definition of challenge is that when I call out a challenge, I should be in my mind what is the opportunity, and I should know how to convert the challenges into opportunity. So one is initial cost. Lower the maturity of the organizations, the higher the initial cost. Data quality is extremely important. All of us will be facing, because we have diverse platform, different ways we have kept data, and many data is in the Excel sheets. Then a true cross-functional team is very much required. I'm still not very sure that what kind of team a data privacy organization needs. Then technology silos. Every organization has this. When we are trying to make a data democratizing platform, there has to be synergy among the technologies. Integration has to necessarily happen. Then you can have technology advancement, AI and all, that may create a little bit of issues in creating this standardizations. Opportunities are too much. Opportunities are long-term benefit to the data subjects for paper consent model. And another thing is, you would have, going forward, I always wish that there is an ATM which is called data ATM. So then the data standardizations, the entire automated data standardizations. So I'm sure time will come when we'll have the way we have a XML format, or we have Swift format, we have an SFMS format. Bankers will understand these terms for data, for transmissions of financial message. I'm sure going forward there will be a format for transmission of the personal data. There could be some format starting from X, but that will happen. And that will be a value proposition cutting across all industries. And there will be open standard which facilitate sharing integrations. And it will help in creation of rich training data and navigate through the protection data. And my last thing is, like what I said, is the metamorphism which I thought, I think it will lead to a democratizing data platform, and it will be an Indian way to the world. Thank you very much.